What's going on YouTube? It's Pelfrey and this is the Red Sea Reefer 250. This is kind of a different spot than where I normally start my videos from. I usually start from like right around there. I'm sitting on the steps because I've been playing with Mobius and I'm trying to figure out how to create templates. I want to run the AB Plus schedule from 9:30 to 9:30 and I want to have it at about a 58 to 59% intensity. But I also want a schedule or different templates that I can change back and forth to for recording, because you can see now the tank is kind of washed out and I don't really like that whenever I'm recording videos. You know, it is kind of rare because it's dark outside and normally I record all my videos during the daytime when sunshine's coming in, but look at this guy. He's being a rude rass. I really need to do a lot more research on Mobius because I really don't know enough about it to manipulate it. I'm sure there's a way to create different templates and have up different lighting schedules set up. I just haven't figured it out yet, but I haven't dug into it very deep. The corals, for the most part, are starting to close up because it is you know, going on 9:05 p.m. which again, like I said, is rare for me to be shooting a video at this time. So all I did was go into Mobius, extended my AB Plus schedule to like 2 a.m. When I'm done with this video, I'll go back and change it from 9:30 to 9:30 at 58%. And that's the schedule that I'm gonna run. So real quick, I made a post about this on Instagram recently, and while all I was trying to take a picture of was the Inkbird controller. But you know, I did it on purpose. I showed the rest of my wiring and how this is all a complete mess. And more power to the people that have all this wiring tidied up. But for me, it's just really not worth it, because whenever you pull out the Tunze pumps, you have to pull out the controller, right? So you have to pull out the power cord, and then the whole controller has to come out of the cabinet to get the pump out. And if I had any of this wiring zip tied, Velcro tied in tracks or whatever, any cable management trays, it would be a complete nightmare to get any of this equipment out of the tank. I can pull out any piece of equipment any time of the day within a minute. I know it looks terrible. I get that it looks terrible, but this is functional. And I know that a lot of people like for their wiring to be pretty. And again, more power to you. This is just what I prefer to do. I've tried keeping the wiring nice and tidy. I end up spending 20 minutes trying to get, you know, a piece of equipment out of the tank. After I get it out and put it back, I got to spend another 15-20 minutes putting all of the wiring back and making it look good again. It's just not worth it to me. It really isn't. So again, you know, I could pull out any piece of equipment within a couple minutes, and my tank is a minimalist tank. I don't run hardly any equipment, not compared to what I'm used to. Now this can actually come out because I'm running Mobius, so I don't even need the Reeflink in here anymore. But that is why I built a separate cabinet. And I get a lot of questions on this cabinet, and it's a 1/2 inch furniture grade plywood, 1/2 inch, and I used the Craig screws, which this thing is super sturdy. And then I just painted it with white paint that I already had. And then on the door, I've got a bottom ledge and a top ledge, and that top ledge really ended up not doing anything except for holding this L bracket in here for me. And you don't like the way the wiring looks? Well, that's simple. All it takes is for me to put the door on, grab this zip tie that's been holding this door on for many years, turn this light off, and you can't even see any of the wiring. Again, I know it's not pretty, but that is the sole reason I built that equipment cabinet. Well, it's part of the reason, I should say. Let me backtrack a little bit. I wanted to pull the equipment out from under the tank and give it an auxiliary cabinet. I just didn't want that equipment in the sump area where there's high moisture where there's just not a lot of room and where it would prevent me from drilling so many holes into the cabinet stand, which I've done already. So I've decided, years ago, that I was just gonna make a cabinet, and that's exactly what I did. And this cabinet used to be mounted to a board that I had on the wall back here. So it used to sit flush with the tank. Now, there is a small gap there, and I did use a small, see, it's modular enough that I can move it around. I used a yoga mat, and I stapled it to the equipment cabinet there. And, I spent a little bit more money on the furniture grade plywood just because I wanted a good grain. I wanted something that wasn't going to be super terrible to paint. So I think I spent, $50 on that sheet of plywood, and it got me exactly what I needed. So anyway, if you don't have an auxiliary equipment cabinet, get one. At one point I had 2 Neptune doses in there, and they were mounted up high here. A lot of people didn't like that because they were saying, what if it leaks? It's going to leak over everything. Well, I didn't disbelieve them, but I was like, I'm pretty sure a doser's not going to leak. But, as soon as I said that, it's probably going to leak. It never did, but the doses were short-lived. I just didn't need 2 doses on this particular tank. Now that I've caught my breath on whatever rant I was going on, you can still see I need to spread out the sand. There's a big hill over on the left side of the tank, and I need to move that over. Again, I said this in the last video, but every time I clean the Tunze pumps, this is what happens. As soon as they get dirty again and lose some power, I don't have to worry about them blowing any sand around. It doesn't bother me. I have a glass scraper that I will stick into the tank, and I will just move the sand over as needed. I do need to move this WWC Slimeball because the bottom section of it is still white, and I'm just gonna say that this thing liked for a couple of months being mounted sideways, but the end result is it just doesn't like being mounted sideways. This encrusting money has just been, it's been phenomenal. Waiting for the purple stylo to come out. It's it's got a great base on it now. I'm just waiting for it to grow out. This large green Slimer that I bought a long time ago does look like it has some type of a white base on it, but otherwise pulp extension is great on it. I don't know, I'm very happy. I've said this over and over, I'm very happy with the direction of the tank up to this point. I really need to do a water change on here, and I'll probably do like a 25-ish gallon water change. And I feel like, and this is just for my tank, I'm not trying to teach anybody by any means, but I feel like from my personal experience, if I wait, 2-3 months somewhere in that frame, and I do a 29-gallon water change, which is huge, because without rock displacement, this is a 54-gallon display, and that's a 17-gallon sump. So 29 gallons, is roughly about half of a water change. And that's kind of unheard of in the saltwater industry, but I feel like this tank benefits from that greatly. I do still use the Live Aquarius salt. I just don't feel like the 5 or 10 gallon water changes that I was doing every week or every other week was just beneficial enough to this tank to sustain that. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video off here. Again, a different view for you. It's really late for the tank anyway. Those starfish are really starting to get on my nerves, but I don't think that I have enough to sustain Harlequin shrimp. Otherwise, I just gotta start like siphoning them out, and that's a lot of work that I'm not going through right now. Anyway, appreciate you following along with the Red Sea Reefer 250. Be sure to check me out on Instagram at Pelfrey's Reef. Check out the website at pelfrey.net, and I'll catch you on the next one.